Please, our eyes are supposed to be on this screen so that we can see how Flutter Web Engine really works on a fast change environment. For example, now I talked to you about on this Flutter Web comes into invention of JavaScript in Flutter, right? Yeah. So normally this is a typical Flutter app. Anybody starting with Flutter, maybe, or anybody that has experience working with Flutter knows about this very Flutter counter app as the boilerplate. Yeah. So, and once you click on the boilerplate add the counter, this is the typical normal Flutter app that we do. So the only thing is, if we look at the left-hand side of our screen, we can see there is another text box around here that is having this value. Right? So now this is JavaScript. So the more you add one click here, the more JavaScript counter increases. So this means now JavaScript is fetching the data from the DOM of Flutter. And while Flutter doesn't have HTML, and JavaScript normally works typically with HTML and things like that. But using Flutter still, we can find a way to leverage JavaScript in that JavaScript can connect with the Flutter DOM and make it, fully dynamically in response. So and you see, the more I add, more press, the more the counter increases. And even around here, it's like vice versa. I can communicate to JavaScript direct, and JavaScript talk to my Flutter app. You see, like either ways I add, it is like working. And there are so many things, for example, to try to do apart from just being a counter. If I want to have like a text box or something, then, for example, this is a text field, and in this text field, now, I can be able to write directly, you see, I'm writing directly on the Flutter Web, and the text box is accepting the response without seeing how the things are, let me say, a little bit done. You want to add more CSS, just click on the shadow. Have you seen the shadow effect on CSS? You see, a little bit. Have you seen like a little bit background shadow effect affected? So like everybody knows of CSS. Now Flutter has for the web a little bit of something that replaces CSS and it works. So for example, if you are resizing this thing for like a window, a long small window, you see you can resize it. And if for example we are trying to have another device, I can mirror it into to look like on mobile app working. And even as it is here now, the text box is still working and accepting responses that I'm passing through in. So and if for example we don't want to mirror this thing into any device, and we just want to have like, let me say, mirror preview, then you can see instead of having let's have a spin. So you see like this thing will continue giving us, if you see, this is the right side, if you turn around, it's giving us a mirror view. And it still is accepting responses whatsoever. This is cool, right? So we can also, let me say, have a little bit visual about our custom app if you're looking for having a custom app or something. So this will like look automatically like a custom app, with a text box, a text field that you still can talk to it. And as you are talking, if you noted, the counter is incrementing. As you are talking, if you noted, the counter is incrementing. And the counter is incrementing vividly. This app is showing us two things. If you noted, it's showing us two things. Not from the left hand of the screen, and not these two options. So it is counting the text, the strings we are sending. It is counting and incrementing. And this one too is incrementing. So that means this JavaScript now here, this Flutter Web demo that I just shown you, is like an invention of Flutter and JavaScript. So this is a very big achievement. Comes 2023, because I used to ask myself, how is Flutter going to work in the web? Like my fear, why I have like 2-3 apps that I built with Flutter. I have, let's say, less than 1 year experience working with Flutter full time. But the fear I have is majorly the clients we are having, the whole day is web. So, and if I stick to Flutter, I'm afraid whether the web will fail me at a point in time, because JavaScript have to be there. It has to be there. So now comes 2023, we have this web embedded apps of Flutter that are connected to JavaScript, and JavaScript can, make, let me say, JavaScript can now send messages, signals, and receive inputs from Flutter direct. So it's of utmost advantage. If you are asking which framework to take today, if you're asking which programming language to stick to, Flutter is a good place to be. The only thing is stick to it. What our boss says previously, stick to it. If you want to learn JavaScript today, don't expect you to be like making money in JavaScript in the next 5-6 months. No, try to feel like 2-3 years, 5 years. Give yourself time. Allow yourself to relax, learn, relearn, and unlearn. Because it's going to be super difficult. But so long as you have this grit mindset, a mindset that is never. Grit mindset is what? What is grit? Okay. It is supposed to be. Grit mindset is supposed to be like a mindset that doesn't have limits. You just don't have to have a limit as a developer. You have to believe learning is a recursive function. Like it's an endless loop. You continue to learn every day. As a developer, you can ask my boss. He learned something today new. You have to learn every day. I don't mean he learned something around here, but you have to learn something before you come here today. Because no matter how you are working, if you are working with computer, after every 1 hour you have to learn something. If you are really doing what you are supposed to be doing, except if you are watching your time, maybe watching movies or Netflix or something. And at a point in time, you will have to have, you will have to have an inspiration, because a dev needs no motivation. What we need is inspiration. Because if you stick to motivation normally happens to disappear after, let's say, 24 hours to 48 hours to 125 hours. So before you know, the motivation is never there. But if you have an inspiration, what it will do for you is it will keep you going. It will continue pushing you. The inspiration, your dreams. Like somebody tell me that his dreams are what stop him from sleeping. Like we used to wake up, how was your night, man? I dream about this and that. So if you ask him how was his night, he will tell you, I didn't sleep. That's my dreams. My dreams don't allow me to sleep. So every developer is supposed to have a great mindset that will make him like that. And believe you me, if you are so consistently watching, this 6 months, somebody just talked to you about Decagon. They are giving this 6 months to make you, fit in. So, I was speaking in Hausa, abin nan aka cewa abin da bai kashe abokinka ba zai kashe wani ba ko, amma sai ga kusan mutuwa. Like you will almost die because you will dedicate 2,100 hours of your life into this dev thing fully, and you have fewer people to talk to, and there are so many problems that you will want to solve, and there are a lot of things. The only way you will leverage it, why I'm showing you this Flutter demo today, is for you to just feel like, yeah, I just want to start this thing and stick to it. And we are around, we will be around, and we will try to help each and every individual that will want to participate into this Flutter. Maybe it will be another advantage for me to be super friendly with Flutter, because I believe whatever problem a newbie can come across on Flutter, I believe it will not pass me. And if it passed me, there is someone I want to introduce to you. His name is Israel, and Israel is a Flutter developer for, I think, 2-3 years. So he has this vast, knowledge of how Flutter works and how things are done. So please, a round of applause for Israel before you speak to us.
Specifically, I wanted to answer his questions or any other questions anyone may have regarding Flutter. And the first one he asked that Flutter for the web, does it work like JavaScript? Well, it doesn't work like JavaScript if you use both. JavaScript, the experience on JavaScript is quite different from that of Flutter. Like how Flutter works for the web is through rendering engine. It's something you can use, like, the main thing is, understanding Flutter is, it's not a native platform, it's a cross-platform. Thereby, it works with different operating systems, but not specifically with each of them. It renders its engine using their own individual OS. It doesn't work on each of the OS itself. Like we are talking about Android, we say we use Java, we use Kotlin. Now those are built specifically for Android. Now iOS, we say that's for iPhone. We say Swift, we use Objective-C. But then platforms like Flutter, React Native, Xamarin, and the rest, they are they are cross platforms. They work on multiple platforms. So the thing is, they don't actually, they are not specific on the operating system, but they work on multiple systems. So they use rendering engines to work. So in similar, answering your first question, Flutter works with the web using its rendering engine. Like if you are to work on it, the installing Flutter, you have everything inbuilt. Like one of the main things that drew me to Flutter was the fact that Flutter is actually the highest platform currently in the world that supports multiple platforms. Flutter supports up to about 8 different platforms ranging from Android, iOS, macOS, Windows. You can build apps for Windows. Yes, I've done that. I don't use Windows, I use Linux. I've built apps for my Linux using Flutter. You can build apps for wristwatches, his smartwatch. You can build apps for that using Flutter. And the sweetest part is there's a new operating system Google is building. It's called Fuchsia OS. And the entire operating system is built with Flutter. Flutter is built for
round of applause for Flutter.
in advanced states like China, they have something like a mirror whereby you step in, you want to purchase something, you want to rather than testing the clothes on yourself, you can look at the mirror and you can see the clothes on yourself, or a makeup for the ladies, you can see the makeup reflecting on yourself. Those are all built with Flutter. Flutter is the #1 framework that supports multiple platforms. And your third question on if you have to go with Flutter or Kotlin. Now the thing is, they are built for different things. Now Kotlin, the initial reason Kotlin was built by JetBrains, although they work with Google as well. Kotlin was built by JetBrains for rendering. I cannot really remember, but it was built by JetBrains for Java. They had something to do with Java. That's why they built Kotlin in the first place. Then later they realized that they could also utilize it for mobile development. The reason they used it was Kotlin was cleaner, it was easier to read than Java. It's compiled well, although there's a slight disadvantage of Kotlin. Kotlin is not quite as fast as Java, but it is cleaner. So now Flutter on the other hand, it's not specific to a single platform. As I said, you can build multiple platforms. Now another thing about Flutter is, Flutter is fast, as I said, but not just fast, it is stupidly fast. Swift is the language built, is the framework built for iOS, for Apple devices to run.
That's native.
Yes, their applications. Now, in scenarios, Flutter was faster than Swift. Imagine a cross-platform
Faster than
what was built for the platform. That's how, most phones run on 60 frames per second. Flutter can run 120 frames per second. Irrespective of how fast you want it to go, Flutter can run it. And the sweetest feature of Flutter, as I said, hot reload, hot restart. Now you won't really know the benefit of hot reload, hot restart if you were coming from other platforms like React Native or native Android. Other platforms, let's say you made a change to an app or anything you were working on. Before you see the difference, sometimes you have to restart it. Sometimes they have something like hot reload, but not exactly. Maybe it takes about 30 seconds or something like that. But Flutter, hot reloads in about 3 seconds. You have seen the change you made instantly. You work instantly, and you can restart the entire cache if you want to work with hot restart. Then I think you asked a question about. Which other question did you ask?
I remember asking if you wanted to start your journey,
Yes.
you should just go either Flutter. Which one solves more problem?
Answering the question of which one solves more problem, it's definitely Flutter because you solve problems across multiple platforms. Not Kotlin solves problem just for Android. Flutter solves for Windows, for macOS, for iOS, for watchOS, for.
Why did Google build Kotlin if they are going to
the app, mobile app.
Yes.
And for me to connect it, but this one is a very good idea because I have to check it as well.
Apart from Flutter, with that, all of us might not be that used to program yet. There are no code platforms that can use.
Yes, but
like Flutter Flow.
that's Flutter Flow. But
Yes,
my question here is, but this one I think will solve a lot of problems for me and a lot of work because I've used a mobile district grocery app. I built one and the customer, I asked again, I want it for the web. I have to go back and use Laravel. Okay, take the APIs. I'm going to use the APIs here. I have to connect my app through my APIs so that anytime, but there's a little bit latency there because my backend or my storage system is on the Laravel and I save it on the disk. So if I change something, it will not reflect the time on the app. So I think this one is very good. If it can do that, I don't know if it can do that because with this one, if I can build on this one, built on Flutter, and it goes on way like this, and just refresh all other data. If I add something like, let's say something prices change and other things, it will not like reflect in time. I think the latency of I cannot calculate latency, but if this one can do that, that's a very good idea. But the APIs and other things, because it take a little bit of time, you have to build this one for Android first, go and build for the web again. Anything that you want to have, you have to take the address and other APIs from your categories and other things and just embed it in the mobile app backend. You start running the app. But with Flutter, I realized Flutter is you can use one code for anything. Especially I think code-based model, you don't have GUI.
Yeah.
You don't have GUI. If you do something, you have to. That's why the issue of Kotlin.com comes in. If you don't write something, you see the thing very fast. But for this one, if it can do that, it will be a very big help.
For your question, I'm not sure if most of them understand.
So this one is
Most of them, I might not be able to carry them along. But the thing about it, Flutter is a front-end framework. Now, yes, there's a question you asked here. The second question you asked is Dart, the programming language Dart. Is it the backend? No. Dart is not the backend. That was the first misconception to it. Dart is not the backend. Dart is the programming language. So Dart to Flutter is like a toothbrush to a toothpaste. Or if you, you might have some experience with web. HTML, CSS, Now, just like how JavaScript, just how JavaScript, HTML, CSS, the programming language, just as IT, similarly. Just that's how Flutter is. It's on the backend. The backend you can use platforms like, as you said, Laravel. You can use platforms like Firebase, Node.js. Yes, you can use that as
Laravel is PHP.
For Android, not web.
Android.
Yeah. Because we are talking about
So that's for the software.
Oga has something to check in, please.
I think now that you spoke, it's when I understood what we've been doing here for a while, right? I've been hearing Flutter Wave and I've been hearing Flutter. Pardon my ignorance. I've been thinking here that it was a mistake. You're saying we are talking about Flutter Wave because for me, when you said Flutter Wave, I just thought it was Flutter Wave
Complete.
No, yeah, there's a company. Yeah, different.
So Flutter Wave is like this is Flutter Wave. Because when he was demoing
Integration into Flutter, just like Flutter Flow.
So do you build the app here? Or is this just a demo?
This app is generally built as a demo by Flutter core developers to showcase how JavaScript fit into Flutter.
No, what we are asking, sorry, the question is, do you build the app on Flutter?
Yes, this
Yes.
is built
Okay.
on Flutter.
So you have an IDE that you use to do this.
Yes,
Android
Android
Studio.
yes.
Android Studio is
Like,
When it was demo, it was not
This is just a demo. When you install Flutter on your system, it comes with the SDK. They show you a lot of demos you can see. This is just a demo. It's not the actual. When you are to work on it, it's already integrated. Everything works together.
So that means you can build an app on Flutter on its own.
Yes, of course.
So what's
And that's another Flutter Wave is the
Flutter Wave
integration of
was
JavaScript into Flutter. Just as Flutter Flow is the integration of no-code platform with Flutter. Now, that's another advantage of Flutter. Flutter also has one of the highest integration with multiple platforms. With Flutter, you can utilize JavaScript. With Flutter, you can use Python. With Flutter, different platforms with the same front end. Flutter is just the front end. So depending on how you want to deploy your server-side clients, that's what you can do.
my last question? The communication between the JavaScript,
Yes.
because when Miner was talking, he was talking about using the JavaScript to communicate with DOM or Flutter and so on. Like, how do JavaScript come into play here? Is it like we use JavaScript to build the app on Studio? Or how do JavaScript come into play in the Flutter web design? Like, what will you use JavaScript for in this case? Is it for the web? Or, I don't know if you get my question.
I get your question.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, Flutter on its own part, it already has its own integration for the web. Now, on how it works, it uses JavaScript actually, but most users don't know. It does it automatically on its own without we being aware. It uses JavaScript actually. So now, using Flutter Wave is now your way, you as an experienced JavaScript developer, to integrate JavaScript on your own rather than allowing it to do it. Yes. So you can have more control over the functions you want rather than just doing it automatically.
So that's more like, so that's more like, just like, I know that when we were talking about Kotlin and Java, so Kotlin is also compiled by the JVM engine, right? Just like how Java is, which is the main reason why it's quite slower.
No, the thing is Kotlin and Java. It's Kotlin and Java is 100% integrated. You can switch Kotlin to Java to Kotlin.
Yes.
But it's not quite like that. It's not like that with Java. There are just elements of some things you can add to it. It's still majorly Flutter.
Okay.
Because the language is that and the integration is not that, but you can still integrate some things.
Cool. Nice.
Sorry, I've been raising my
Yeah,
hand since
pass.
over here. Excuse me, sorry please. No, this means that you still need to learn some certain programming language. Yes or no? Languages, yes or no?
Yes, that's the disadvantage of Flutter. Now, the primary disadvantage of Flutter is the programming language, Dart. Now, for most people, they don't have any other thing to do with Dart apart from Flutter. Most people go to platforms like React Native because they already know JavaScript.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, Dart is a whole new language, but it is the best language for cross-platform because it was intentionally designed for that purpose.
So, I'm sorry, one more question. If you learn that
Yes,
and you make an app
Yes.
using that,
that's just the language. The framework is Flutter.
then okay, like using the programming language, you communicated to Flutter
Yes,
to make an app, and you made the app.
yes,
You can now, like, using Flutter itself now as the what's called the platform, cross what do you call
the
it?
framework.
Platform, to make it into an operating system, maybe for Windows, Linux, or anything and any other thing. The app you made is basically for mobile app. And then
The app you made is just one. Then depending on how you want to deploy it,
and
like
then-
you can deploy it as an APK, you can deploy it for
And-
depending on the operating system you want.
So, in short, if you go with Flutter,
Yes.
the only programming language you need to learn is that.
Yes, exactly.
But
And the thing is, if you are for a beginner, you don't actually need to learn that. If you want to do some more advanced functions, you can use that. But for introduction, it's straightforward. For someone who doesn't have experience with other platforms, that and Flutter is very easy because they are synchronized. For an entry, you wouldn't even know that there's a difference, Flutter and that. That's why most people think it's one or they are different. They are very well integrated that they serve as one. You don't know that they are different.
Okay.
So you only need to learn that if you want to do more advanced. But for introduction, just learn Flutter concept and yes, you are good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? No. So does Flutter support mobile API? Mobile API. Well, Flutter is, as I said, a front-end framework. It can, but it's more. The purpose why it is built is to serve the most beautiful mobile UIs you can have. The function is front-end user interface. That's the reason why it's built. Yes. Now that you can use that for that. You can use that with server side. But then the specific function it was built for was for you to serve multiple platforms. Now the thing about programming is now using a specific language or a framework. It depends on the problem you are trying to solve. Now the best way you can utilize Flutter is what it is built for. Cross-platform. That's the best way you can utilize it. And if you want anything cross-platform, the best platform you can use in the world so far is Flutter. Number one.
Yes. I have a question and then a question.
So this will be the last question we will take, please.
I've been raising my hand.
The time is already there. Second to the last question.
Okay. If I want to build an app for Flutter now, I have a laptop.
She actually asked
and I
one
want
of
to
my
build an app
questions.
for Flutter. Do I use VS Code? Or is there something
You can use VS Code. VS Code is
okay?
then all you need to do is
like Visual Studio Code.
Yes. All you
This
need
one
to do
in
is
particular.
yes, all you need to do is all you need to do is go to flutter.dev and download
So
SDK.
So the request now is I brought my laptop now. I don't have anything related to Flutter in my laptop. I have VS Code. So what do I need in my laptop now?
the plugins and
Is there a way to get it?
you download it from flutter.dev.
From those links that I shared to you.
Okay.
Yeah, you can download Flutter.
If somebody has it, can you copy from the list?
No, don't copy. Download direct. You just connect to data, download from direct. The reason why you are downloading direct is if I have downloaded the Flutter 3 weeks ago, today maybe there is a new mirror, like new update of Flutter that my own Flutter doesn't have. So if you have downloaded direct, you are going to have that update, which I will have to update later to get it. You got. So it's for platform advantage not to be collecting images, packages, mirrors from a friend. Rather, you just download direct from servers.
If I've downloaded 3 weeks ago,
Yes.
I just need to update.
Yes.
Let me just give a simple example. For example, I have maybe an app on my phone.
You can send it, there's no problem. But the problem is
Updates.
How heavy is it and what is it?
well it's
I don't think you can zip it if it's about the size, but it's sweeter if you just download it.
yes.
Oh,
And
and if it's
if anybody
possible-
has here already,
if
although
it's
the
possible,
thing is I use Linux, so there's no way I can. So, but the best way is to just download. And the thing about Flutter is, if you stop Flutter 1 month and come back the next month, the code will not work again because it's
the whole mobile community. I don't know of iOS, but even Android. That's how Android is crazy. updates can come like 2 times a week.
Yeah. And when I check GitHub, according to GitHub statistics, Flutter is number 3rd open source project that has many contributors in the whole world. It's number 3rd open source project that has vast contributors worldwide. Flutter. So
it is possible for you guys to also drop like because most people learn from documents. Some other people prefer to learn from watching videos. If it's possible to drop like a link that could give like the introductory parts for these people that want to start.
I didn't
No. Like I'm just on YouTube.
I'm just talking about the new
YouTube for
just like
for
YouTube introduction video that will direct them to install.
I'll try to paste the links later. Yeah. I'll also paste link for our other community Kebbi in the group. So if you are not in the group, maybe we can know because we are supposed to paste that in the group rather than collecting. Okay, you're not in the group.
Techify. GDG or Techify.
Yeah.
GDG.
group we're speaking of. GDG.
If you are not in GDG
specifically.
That annoying.
Yeah, people that are here, but they are not in the GDG community. Boss, not really.
I'm not in GDG.
Yes, boss.
You are in GDG.
So I think starting from you just so that we can